Welcome into Clippers Countdown as your LA Clippers head out on the road for their next three, starting in New York against the 23-13 Knicks after a pretty successful 4-1 homestand. And as Clippers fans feeling like the turnaround with this team is real after another big victory Monday night at Intuit Dome over the Golden State Warriors thanks to rookie Kobe Sanders.
Pump fakes, finds Kobe Sanders on the right wing, a one dribble pull up, two, nothing but the bottom. Kobe Sanders with the right-handed dribble around the Zubac screen to the free throw line. Pump fakes 3 times, now elevates, fires, and gets one to roll in. Swings at Sanders. Dribbling with the right hand on Payton, attacks the right block. Tough follow away, 2, rolls in. Crosses to his right, back to his left. In the lane, he retreats, fires the tough 2, and rolls it in. Wow. I call him tough too, Adam, but he hits them every time. Here come the Clips on the counter. Kobe Sanders gets upstairs and slams it through. Swing at Sanders, deep left wing 3. Kobe Sanders connects. Kawhi, right corner, Sanders 3. Connects again. Kobe Sanders, career high, 20 points. He's a flamethrower tonight for the Clippers.
Without James Harden, Kobe Sanders got the start, went for his young career high of 20 points, and the Clippers held on late for a 103-102 victory over the Golden State Warriors. Here was Coach Lou postgame on if he ever imagined relying on his rookie and Kobe Sanders this much going into this season.
Yeah, I didn't imagine that. I knew he was a good player. But just, his poise, his ability to understand what we're doing defensively and offensively and just get more and more confident, And so, coming to maybe the last few weeks, just talk about, him shooting his mid-range shot. That's his best shot, And so they're talking about rim and 3 and all that. Like, shoot your best shot. And so just for him to be poised, what has he been able to do when he started early on in the season to now just getting consistent minutes, it's huge for us, And so, with James being down, we had 20 turnovers, but we didn't have a lot of, extra ball handling on the floor. So for him to carry that load, him and KD, I thought was really good. Despite having 20 turnovers overall, I thought we did a decent job.
Hopefully, with it looking like James Harden will be back for tonight's contest, they can cut down on the turnovers as the Clippers are trying to keep it rolling now on the road, starting at Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. Tip-off from MSG is just about 60 minutes away. Coming up here in your pregame show, you'll hear from assistant coach Dante Jones, plus Tomer Azarly from Clutch Points will be here. But up next, it's your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in New York taking on the Knicks. Tip-off is just 58 minutes away. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. This is your official pregame show of your LA Clippers. Clippers countdown still to come. You're going to hear from assistant coach Dante Jones, but let's get out to MSG and get your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez. Carlo, how we doing?
Adam, it is so good to see you. I'm doing so good. I'm here in New York, and it wasn't even cold today. It was like 50 degrees. I was loving it. Got a nice walk in. I'm great. I'm hanging out high above the floor here in Madison Square Garden. But more importantly, Adam, the Clippers are looking healthy today. James Harden is good to go. I'm excited about that.
Clippers looking great the last 8 games where they're 7 of 8. They're turning things around. They just had a 4-1 homestand. Now they head out on the road for 3, starting against the Knicks tonight. But let's go back to what happened against the Golden State Warriors Monday night back at Intuit Dome. Clippers with a slim 1-point lead at 103-102 over Golden State. Thanks to Kobe Sanders coming up huge in the starting lineup when they didn't have James Harden. Kobe Sanders able to drop 20 in that one, Carlo.
Big buckets from Kobe Sanders. I thought it was funny, Adam. He joked post-game about how they asked him, you're a rookie. You have so much poise. Where did this come from? And he goes, well, I did play 5 years of college basketball. So he's had some experience under his belt playing in big games. And might I add, started for 3 of those 5 years, the last 3. So he understands kind of how to play that starting role, how to be effective in that starting role, and then just continues to play within his game. I think that's one thing you and I both talked about when he first started playing big minutes for the Clippers is he's not doing anything where you're like, man, I haven't seen him make that shot or pull out this move or try this play. He really understands his strengths and then tries to execute those strengths every single time he's on the hardwood. It was impressive, and it's great to see his teammates really encourage him. I feel like every time you talk to James Harden or Kawhi Leonard, they're very proud of Kobe Sanders and also want him to continue to playing that way. And Kobe has echoed how his confidence comes from his veterans being in his ear all the time, wanting him to continue to thrive on the floor.
I thought it was great what Coach Lou said post-game, saying, forget the analytics with him. He has a good mid-range shot. It doesn't have to be all threes or rim attacks. Kobe Sanders has shown that off going back to the Summer League that he can knock them down from 10 to 16 feet out.
Adam, as somebody who took half a college math class because of the pandemic, I agree with that. Forget the analytics. We don't need numbers. What's the point? Just tell me the score. But Kobe Sanders, every time, I'm glad you put it in the mix pregame because every time he took a 2, I'm like, tough 2, tough mid-range jumper. And he's falling away, and it looks easy. And he's talked about how that's his spot. That's what he gets to on the offensive end. So impressive. I think nonetheless, the Clippers are going to need him to continue to play at that level, especially when you consider no Derrick Jones Jr. and no Bogdan Bogdanovic for the foreseeable future for this team. They need somebody like Kobe Sanders to step up on the offensive end. Adam, I thought as impressive as his rebounding gave away my lead there. As impressive as his points were in that game, his rebounding was just as impressive. He had 7 boards for the Clippers.
Yeah, the guy who led the Clippers in rebounding in that ball game against Golden State Monday night, though, Kawhi Leonard with 12. He also couldn't knock anything down from the outside. 0 of 8 from 3, but ended up 10 of 17 from 2. Of course, he is the ultimate mid-range master. Still got to 24 points, those 12 boards, 5 assists. Did have a few turnovers in there as the Clippers as a team had 20. He had 5 of them. But Kawhi Leonard still big, especially late because all the attention he drew his way from Golden State.
Yeah, he was huge down the stretch. Just like you mentioned, to have that gravity on the floor, to be able to find a way on the offensive end to get downhill, to knock down shots in the paint. I mean, this is somebody who scored 20 straight points, 17 games in a row, Adam. I mean, he has been stuck on automatic for this Clippers team with the way he works. And you bring up the double-double. Clippers are 4-0 this season when Kawhi gets to 10 rebounds. When he gets a double-double, they are undefeated. Ty Lue mentioning that when Kawhi is engaged, he's rebounding the basketball. That's big for this Clipper team as of late. I just think it's been underrated, Adam, the two-way effort of Kawhi Leonard, though. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's averaging 35 his last 8 games. Oh, and by the way, leads the league in steals. The league, not just the Clippers, the entire NBA in steals. He has been, I think if the Clippers go on a run here, there is first team all NBA consideration due for Kawhi Leonard with the way he has played.
John Collins turning things around, helping things turn around for this ball club as well, specifically from the outside. You noted it, but he's been shooting over 70% from 3 over the last 7 games, had 18 points, 10 of which came in that fourth quarter against Golden State, including a huge 3, but just big-time buckets and played big minutes for the Clippers.
Played huge minutes for the Clippers. I think, we speak about how Kawhi Leonard stepped it up defensively. John Collins has as well. They're 7-1 in their last 8 games. He's averaging a steal and a block and a half in those games. He has been effective on the glass, a couple of big blocks. Ty Lue post-game, in fact, credited John Collins for the Clippers being able to hang on to the lead. He said he hit some big threes. He was able to get huge blocks on the defensive end. It was a slow start for John Collins, but what's been great at him is these last 8 games, he has made a worlds of difference for this Clippers team on both ends of the floor. Do you understand why a lot of people are like, why would you trade Norman Powell? And you're seeing not that Norman Powell isn't fantastic, but what John Collins can provide you as a two-way player right now for the Clippers has been excellent and much needed in that starting lineup.
You know, even Chris Dunn this season has looked more like a two-way player. You think of him as just a defensive guy, but he's shooting so well from the outside, and he had 9 of his 16 points in that fourth quarter, knocked down a huge three-pointer, got a floater, and also fouled out Steph Curry on an offensive rebound.
He was excellent in that game. And Ty Lue loves when people double team the ball. Well, all Steve Kerr did in the fourth quarter was double team Kawhi Leonard. So essentially, you're playing 4-on-3 on the backside. What does that mean for the Clippers? Chris Dunn's got to make the right play. Either he has to make a pass, either he's got to shoot the ball, either he's got to find somebody on the offensive end or draw to and spray out to a shooter, but he makes the right play every single time. Remember, this is a guy coming out of college. No one talked about really his defense. It was his offense that had people excited. He was excellent in his a couple seasons at Providence. So I would expect Chris Dunn to continue to be comfortable in that role and to see him shooting 39.6% from 3. Adam, he's played 35 games. I mean, this is not a hot streak. He is shooting nearly 40% from the three-point line for the Clippers this season. Talk about a reason this team has turned it around. Chris Dunn's offensive output has been unbelievable and really not something many people saw coming when the year started.
No, strengthening weaknesses. It was a lot of the talk in that series against the Denver Nuggets, how often they left him wide open. Yeah. Chris Dunn getting better and better from the outside, especially on those corner threes. Don't know how many minutes he'll get in this one tonight in New York, but I thought Jordan Miller, especially in that first half, key minutes for this Clippers team, also giving them a little bit of a boost offensively.
Yeah, and he's still trying to, find his sea legs, per se, for this Clipper team, Adam. Talk about the numerous injuries. He missed the first 10 games of the year. He comes back for 4 games. He misses another handful of games. He's only played 14 games this season. The Clippers as a team have played 35, which is crazy that this is game 36. It has flown by. We have had a lot of fun. But Jordan Miller has played in 10 straight games. He's finally had a stretch of games where he's been able to be in the rotation and be a part of this team and try to contribute on the offensive end. And I thought what Ty Lue talked about post-game, saying, hey, it's on me a little bit. And he spoke with Jordan about this to get him the ball in the right spots offensively. Ty said, I know he can score. I know he can be productive. Ty put the onus on himself, saying, I have to be better about putting Jordan Miller in opportunities where he can find success. One, I mean, what leadership from the head coach, being like, yeah, it's my fault the guy's not playing well. You often do not hear that, especially a guy like Jordan Miller, who's 9th, 10th in this rotation. But the Clippers do feel like he has potential. It's one of the reasons why Jordan had other options to go their places, sign a 2-way contract, but he stuck with the Clippers. He loved this organization, and this organization wants him to give that fair shot on the offensive end. And I feel like the Clippers, if he doesn't play a lot, but when he does play, will put him in opportunities to find success.
Carlo Jimenez on the call. Clippers taking on the Knicks from Madison Square Garden. Tip-off just about 46 minutes away. And up next, Carlo's got an interview. I think he's trying to track down Dante Jones. We'll go back to Carlo when we return. It's Clippers Countdown. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in New York taking on the Knicks. Tip-off is just about 45 minutes away. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Countdown. Coming up in just a bit, we'll go back in time in Clippers Rewind. But first, I want to check back in with Carlo Jimenez here.
Thanks so much, Adam. Here with assistant coach Dante Jones for the Clippers take on the Knicks. Coach, the Knicks team this lost 4 in a row. What is the key for you guys today?
Physicality, ball pressure, helping each other out, bringing that spirit that we brought on this last couple of games. We've been a connected team defensively, and we keep that up, we get a good chance to win.
All right, thank you so much. Best of luck.
Quick one there with Dante Jones. Pre-game, it was Carlo Jimenez with them talking about the physicality. This Clippers team has been a different defense over the last month, especially the last couple of weeks. Clippers winners of 7 of their last 8. They're coming off a 4-1 homestand. Can they do it out on the road now? Taking on New York tonight at Madison Square Garden. Tip-off just 43 minutes away. Coming up next, your player to watch in your Clippers Rewind segment. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers taking on the Knicks from Madison Square Garden. Tip-off is just 40 minutes away here on Clippers Countdown. Coming up, we'll get your player to watch here. But first, I want to go back in time in Clippers Rewind, not too far here, just to February 4th of 2023, almost 3 years ago. Avatar: The Way of Water was out. I think there's a new one. I didn't see the old one. I mean, I saw the old one, but I haven't seen the second one or the third one. I kind of wish James Cameron would focus on other stuff, but that's just me. The song Flowers by Miley Cyrus was at the top of the Billboard charts, and the Clippers were at MSG and needed a big shot to get things into overtime.
George stepping to a 3-ball, missed it long, rebound Leonard. Zubac gets it back to him, 3 seconds left, back to George, swing at Batum, right wing 3, oh, he's got it, put it in at the horn, and we've got overtime at MSG.
Nick Batum helping beat the Knicks with that shot to take things into OT, where the Clippers would eventually win by a final score of 134-128. That was back in February of 2023. Who knows? Might have Nico as my player to watch in this one. Clippers taking on the Knicks. Player to watch is next, and then Tomer Azarly will be here. It's Clippers Countdown. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. I kind of like this song. Clippers in New York taking on the Knicks. Tip-off is just 36 minutes away. I'm Adam Oslin. This is Clippers Countdown, the official pregame show of your LA Clippers. Coming up, we got Tomer Azarly joining the show. But first,
this is LA Clippers basketball.
Watching this guy play right now is really something.
Players to watch.
you know what? I want to see how Kobe Sanders follows up his performance on Monday, going for a young career high of 20 points on 9 of 16 shooting as he got the start without James Harden, played 36 minutes, hit a couple of big three-pointers in that third quarter, one from way out on the left wing, plus had 7 rebounds, 3 assists out there. Does he have a little bit more confidence now as a rookie coming off a game like that? Now doing it under the lights at Madison Square Garden, where he'll be coming off the bench once again. More on that coming up, but I just want to see Kobe Sanders continue to grow. I did get 5 years in college. He did say that post-game. He may be a rookie, but he's played a lot of basketball, and you can tell he's got a little bit of that veteran swag out there. Moment has not been too big for him so far this season. He's been huge for this Clippers team, but no bigger game than the one Monday, him getting the start in place of James Harden being out. We'll update you and bring you some good news coming up next in our injury report. Clippers taking on the Knicks from Madison Square Garden. Tip-off 35 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in New York taking on the Knicks. Tip-off is just 32 minutes away here on Clippers Countdown. Coming up, we'll have Tomer Azarly on the show. But first, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. For the New York Knicks, no Josh Hart in this one, out with an illness and no right ankle sprain for him. Landry Shamet, right shoulder sprain, Clippers legend. He's out in this one too. James Harden is available. Coming off the sore right shoulder. He'll be back. Derrick Jones Jr. with them on the trip, but remember, his prognosis was 6 weeks after spraining the right MCL again in the game against Boston. Bogey is back in Los Angeles, still rehabbing that left hamstring injury. Clippers taking on the Knicks. Coming up next in our Media Roundtable segment, we'll have Tomer Azarly from Clutch Points. I'm Adam Oslin as we are just about 31 minutes away from tip-off, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in New York taking on the Knicks. Tip-off is just about 29 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Countdown, the official pregame show of your LA Clippers. Coming up in a little bit, we'll get your drive around the league, but join the show right now from Clutch Points is our friend Tomer Azarly. Follow him at TOMERAZARLY, where he's got the show on X with Brett Siegel as they break down some of the news and rumors in the NBA. Tomer, thanks for doing this. Plug the show. When's the next episode coming out?
Thanks for having me, Adam. Once again, appreciate it. Yeah, we go live Thursdays at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 p.m. Pacific time on Twitter, on our Twitter page, Clutch Points Twitter page, and on YouTube now. We're going to start doing it on YouTube as well. So if anyone wants to follow along there over Twitter, you can. But Twitter and YouTube is where we're at right now. Going live Thursday tomorrow at 12:30 p.m.
You got any Clippers rumors you could give us a little bit of a preview on? Is there anything in the works there, or are they just monitoring situations right now?
I mean, nothing. Honestly, it's stuff that I've already touched on in that, I think the Clippers are, kind of waiting to see what they can do with Chris Paul here as the trade deadline nears. I think, for one, they want to be able to convert Kobe Sanders to a standard contract. I mentioned that before. I think he's showing out, as one of their most impressive young players in recent, memory. And I think they want to be able to maintain him. And so, they're going to have to find a suitor for Chris Paul, because you can't be under you can be under 14 players for only 2 weeks at a time. And so, you can't just waive Chris Paul without a plan there. So you have to find a suitor for him. And then I think they want to convert Kobe once they're able to do that.
Do you think this situation with Chris Paul, that's all it is right now? They're not willing to waive him because he could end up being included in a trade package, and that contract therefore could be valuable?
Yeah, they financially would just not benefit in any way from just waiving him. And they're already at that first apron line. So I think if they do sign Kobe Sanders, I think they'd be going over that first apron, which has been essentially a non-negotiable for them this season. So, I think they're looking to find some kind of, trade partner for Chris Paul. Look, I think there's a lot of teams out there right now who are interested in point guard help. I know, the Minnesota Timberwolves have been interested in point guard depth. I think Atlanta's here. Sounds like they're about to move Trae Young, with the Washington Wizards being a destination. So there's a couple teams out there that want point guard help and point guard depth. And so I guess, I think the Knicks are also one of them, actually, who were interested in Chris Paul. So I think it'll come down to, once the dominoes kind of fall here, we see where certain guys end up, like Jonathan Kuminga, Trae Young, who's left kind of out of the picture there, who still needs point guard depth after all those moves were made. And then we'll see who can kind of go after a guy like Chris Paul then.
Is Trae Young going to DC inevitable at this point? It seems like there's a lot of smoke, Tomer.
At this point, it would seem like it. It sounds like he just needs a fresh start. Atlanta clearly has just, outgrown the need for him as their starting point guard. Even when they were here, we've seen significant strides being made by guys like Dyson Daniels and Jalen Johnson as two-way guys, both as and also as three-level scorers. I know Dyson hasn't shot the three ball well this year, but he shot it better last year, and he's been a facilitator this year. He's attacking the basket. So I think they've really shown, and even Nickeil Alexander-Walker has just taken great strides there. So I think they've just outgrown the need for Trae Young, and it sounds like Washington, as of right now, is the favorite to land him, a team that I think has been searching for a superstar there. And, I think if they end up completing this trade, may have something to work with.
Brought up Kobe Sanders a little bit earlier and getting that contract converted. Just how surprised are you? I know Coach Lou talked about it post-game with Justin Russo asking the first question about Kobe Sanders and how much he's used him this season. But how surprised are you that this 23-year-old rookie, we know he went to college for 5 years and he's on the older side, but has been this impactful for this Clippers team?
I don't know if I'm surprised that he's been impactful at this stage, because I think we've seen it for a better part of 2 months now as they've had to deal with injuries. What I will say was the most impressive, though, was just his ability to get to his spots in the mid-range. Like, the mid-range is considered one of the lesser efficient shots in the game right now. And, he was taking guys off the dribble, getting to his one dribble, two dribble pull-up in the mid-range. And I feel like he made 6 or 7 of his 9 attempts on those alone. And so, that was very impressive to see. don't just, I know they want him to be a spot-up shooter when it presents itself, but he's been great off the dribble, especially in that game. They needed every bit of it. I think he was their leading scorer after 3 quarters of play. Kawhi had 19 and Kobe had 20. So that was a phenomenal effort by him to kind of help us, especially with James Harden now. I think that's kind of going to be the thing for him. How can he continue to develop and grow other areas of his game? He's been a glue guy. He's been a hustle guy. But can he knock down the spot of threes? Can he get to his 1 dribble, 2 dribble pull up in the mid-range? Can he get better tagging the basket? Like, I think all those we've seen, but how can he get better and a little bit better at those? So far, again, as the 50th pick in the draft, absolutely phenomenal player so far for the Clippers.
You brought up Kawhi Leonard there. He finished with a team-high 24 plus 12 rebounds in that game, the 1-point victory, 103-102 over the Golden State Warriors on Monday night. Coach Lou has mentioned it before, but when he's out there giving that level of effort on the boards, Boardman gets paid. It's just a different Kawhi.
Yeah, I mean, look, especially with some of the troubles they've had at times closing possessions out with rebounds, Kawhi just has to take another step there as far as rebounding. And he has. I think, a lot of it just depends on where the ball bounces sometimes and where you're on the floor, whether you're defending a perimeter guy or you're kind of guarding interior players more. But I think we've seen Kawhi be able to rebound at a very high level for most of his career now. And so this year we're seeing career highs across the board in scoring, and wouldn't surprise me if the rebounding even goes up a couple notches as well. I think a lot of that started when Zoo was out a couple games ago. So I think the Clippers, again, they've had so many issues this season that I think of late have been kind of mitigated and they've looked a little better. But again, a lot of those come down to how can you close possessions with rebounds, get out in transition. Those second, third chances can be absolute backbreakers against teams like the Warriors, as we've seen. So closing out possessions is just super important, obviously, with rebounds.
What have you made of the play in just 2 games back so far from Ivica Zubac and trying to get him going again?
I mean, Zoo's been great. I think from a defensive standpoint, defensive anchor standpoint, he's just a guy they really need out there. Like, they can't afford to not have him out there. I think offensively speaking, like, I think he reached double-figure scoring mostly with free throws against the Warriors. Didn't really get many shot attempts, if I remember correctly. But he just finished with a double-double. Had a couple assists. So, I think there's a lot of mouths to feed there. But, as guys see more double teams and face different situations, Zoo will get involved. And we saw him have a couple 30-point games earlier this year. I think against the Cavs and another one against the Rockets, if I remember correctly. So, he's fully capable of putting up big nights. And I think he's still somewhat limited, if I'm not mistaken. I think they were limiting to about 25 minutes that first night. This would be his 3rd game back. So I'm assuming he's slowly working up or working past any kind of restrictions that he has as of right now. So Zoo's always going to be a bit of a work in progress, but he's always getting better. I know Draymond was very, very complimentary of him after the last game, saying every game against Zubac is super physical, and I love playing against some of the young, good bigs in the league. So Zoo's Zoo. I mean, we all know by now what Zoo does for you.
John Collins, definitely not on a minutes restriction Monday night. Almost played 40 minutes in that one, and his 3-point shooting has been fantastic the last couple of weeks. It's starting to feel like, Tomer, that we're starting to see the John Collins that everybody expected in a Clippers uniform. Yeah,
it certainly took some time to show up, and I think on the season now, I think he's at about 38%. And if you look at his last, 17 games now, he's at over 40%, 42% from 3 right now. So he really seems to have found his stride as a shooter and really his role in the team. I think what we've seen with him especially is, it's difficult when James isn't here, as we've seen a couple of times, for him not to try to create for himself a bit more. But, the less he dribbles, I feel like the more he's just focused on getting shots up and being less turnover prone. When he's in that corner 3 spot, that lower half of the corner, he's feel like he's been a knockdown shooter all, the last couple of weeks. I don't think he's missed, or hasn't felt like he's missed any. So he had that one game, I think, against Boston, where he started like 8 of 8 from the field with 20 points in the first half. So he's been great, really settling into his role, doing whatever the team needs him to do, whether it's score a little bit more, whether it's rebound. And so I think, again, a guy who it's taken some time, given who has been in and out of the lineup, some of the new additions and everything. But they've really started to find their role and see where the team needs them most and where they fit best. And so John is, a professional. He's done this long enough now. A guy who I think can only get better. The three-point shooting we've seen go up. His positioning on the floor, he probably can pick his spots even better than he has so far. So I think he has 4 blocks against the Warriors too, if I'm not mistaken. So we're seeing a little bit of everything from him. So he's been great.
Lastly, Tomer, somebody who has, of course, been great on the defensive end, but this season he's improved his efficiency offensively, especially from 3. He's getting to his floater more. Chris Dunn had 16 points last time out and came up clutch during that fourth quarter against Golden State. I just like the fact that he's strengthening weaknesses right now in his game.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Dunn, they certainly don't win that game without Chris Dunn. I know Tyler made sure to praise him the other night. Again, another guy who, when he's needed most, I think especially since Derek went down, has been a knockdown three-point shooter. On the season, he's been just a tad under 40%, but I think over the last couple of weeks, he's been much higher than that. And so, again, a guy the Clippers have really needed and has come through. Also a guy who doesn't need to be, doesn't need the ball in his hands the whole time, can be a knockdown shooter, but picking his spots, attacking closeouts, getting to that floater at times we've seen, and putting pressure on defense is not just to guard his outside shot, but his little floater inside. Again, he's not the best offensive weapon out there every night, but what he gives you offensively on top of what he gives you defensively, I think is what makes him a perfect weapon for this team, especially when guys like James and Kawhi are out there with him. Over his last 11 games, Chris Dunn is shooting 46% from 3, 55% from the 54% from the field. So he's been phenomenal. No complaints about him. He's been great. And he's going to need to continue to need to be great, especially with Derek out for the next couple of weeks here. So, he's been phenomenal as well.
No doubt. He is Tomer Azarly from Clutch Points. Follow him on X at TOMERAZARLY and check out the show with him and Brett Siegel coming up tomorrow as they got some inside rumors and news to break. Looking forward to the show, Tomer. Thanks for doing this here on Clippers Countdown.
Appreciate you having me, Adam. Thank you.
Coming up next, as we get set for the Clippers in New York, taking on the Knicks, and tip-off is just about 17 minutes away. We'll get your drive around the league. I'm Adam Oslins, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in New York taking on the Knicks. Tip-off just 14 minutes away. Coming up, back to Carlo Jimenez. But first, let's get to your drive around the league, brought to you by Toyota. It's the Here and Now sales event at your Toyota dealer. The clock is ticking. Don't wait to grab a great deal on a new Toyota. We make it easy. A couple of games that just tipped off, but coming up later tonight in Portland, Blazers hosting the Rockets. Trailblazers at 17-20. One of the teams in front of the Clippers they're trying to chase down right now. Houston 22-11 after getting that big game winner from Kevin Durant over the Phoenix Suns the other night. Golden State Warriors hosting the Milwaukee Bucks from Chase Center. And Giannis Antetokounmpo and Steph Curry getting after it there. San Antonio, don't care. OKC Thunder hosting the Utah Jazz a little bit later tonight. The Thunder 4-4 their last 8 games, and they just got run off the floor by the Charlotte Hornets. Curiously, it's almost like San Antonio beating them 3 times in 12 days took away their superpowers or something. They no longer look invincible out there. We'll see how they respond. Memphis Grizzlies will welcome in the Phoenix Suns a little bit later on. Ja Morant still averaging 19 per game. Devin Booker and the Suns, one of the surprises in the league this season at 21-15. D-Book getting 26 and 6 assists per ball game. Coming up next from Madison Square Garden, we're going back out to Carlo Jimenez. Clippers, Knicks from MSG. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. ROC. Clippers in New York, taking on the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. Tip-off is just about 10 minutes away. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Countdown, the official pregame show of your LA Clippers. Coming up, we will get to your keys to victory, but now back out to MSG with Carlo Jimenez here. So, Carlo, last 4 ball games, Knicks 0-4. They got a bottom 3 net rating over that time. What's the word on the street there in the concrete jungle where dreams are made of?
Yeah, Adam, they've got the 5th worst defensive rating in the NBA in that stretch. That's a big part of it. Mike Brown has kind of talked about how they need to be a more physical team. They need to be able to get into their opponents, and we're seeing already a shift in that with the starting lineup tonight. They're going with Miles McBride, who's a little bit more of a physical guard out there for this Knicks team. Another thing is they're just not playing the same way they played last year. You know, when you play every game like it's game 7, that's a lot of fun, and you're going to win a lot of regular season games. But part of not playing every game like it's Game 7 is you're going to lose more games in the regular season that you might have had a chance to win otherwise. And so I think for the Knicks, really, even though they're one win ahead of where they were exactly at this point last year, it's the idea of like this is a marathon rather than a sprint to win every single game. And that's why they've had a little bit of a struggle here in the early portion of the season.
And maybe one step back to take 2 steps forward, although Mike Brown has been very good for them offensively so far. You mentioned the guy who's playing, but they don't have Josh Hart. Yep. I don't want to say the heart of the team or the heart and soul, but he is that type of guy for the Knicks. Right. How do they make up for that?
You know, it's hard to make up for somebody like Josh Hart. I mean, how many times is he going to win you multiple possessions, make multiple efforts on the offensive and the defensive end? I don't know if there's a perfect answer to that. I think overall, though, this team has talked about being who we think we are, is the words Jalen Brunson used after their last loss. When, they got smacked by the Detroit Pistons in Detroit, 121-90. I mean, that is an obliteration. Really what was looked at maybe an early Eastern Conference Finals preview, and they really could not put up a fight. The other part of that is, Adam, how do you find a way to continue to be effective on the glass? You mentioned them struggling these last 4 games. A huge part of that is they're not rebounding well at all. They are 4th in the NBA in rebound percentage this season. Their last 4 games, Adam, they are 7th to last in rebounding percentage. They have just not rebounded well at all. A part of that is when you have a poor defensive rating, teams are making more shots, so you're not really rebounding the ball. But that's a huge drop-off from 4 to 26. We'll see if they're able to rebound better against the Clippers today.
Yeah, we'll see how the Clippers react to that, because you expect to get their full attention. Having lost their last 4 games, the Knicks are trying to turn this around in a hurry. Not going to be easy, but it's a good thing they have Ivica Zubac back now in his 3rd game. Excited to see what he could bring against the Knicks and some of those matchups with him and Mitchell Robinson tonight here, Carlo.
Yeah, it's going to be important for the Clippers to be able to dominate the paint, especially against this Knicks team. Something that's been brought up, and Mike Brown talked about pregame, is that they want to be a team that protects the paint, but they're giving up the 10th most shots at the rim in the NBA. So the Clippers have to be able to get into this blue paint in Madison Square Garden and find opportunities in the restricted area. You want to be the more physical team, especially if that's something that New York is struggling with, and that starts with getting Ivica Zubac the ball, Adam. You just have to find him on the offensive end. I also think for the Clippers, can you continue to attack the painted area? Ty Lue always talks about you need paint touches. What's his famous phrase? You get to the paint or die trying. That's what the Clippers have to do tonight. They need to touch the paint, because that will help them touch gold at the end of the game.
Well, 50 Cent is a New York guy, so that's apropos for them being in New York for this one. Let's talk about James Harden returning. Do you know if he's on a minutes restriction? What can we expect from the bearded wonder in this game, Carlo?
Yeah, Adam, there was no announcement of a minutes restriction. I would be surprised. James Harden knows the big stage. He understands these are bigger moments playing at a place like this. And also, he just wants to play. I mean, he's already missed 3 games this season. He missed 3 games all of last season for the Clippers. I would expect him to be ready to give it a go and play a heavy 35 if the Clippers need him to, as they're able to get him some rest. James Harden works so extremely hard, and you hear his teammates talk about it all the time. They don't really know a guy who's in the gym as much as James Harden. And sometimes you got to protect James Harden from James Harden, and maybe that was what the Clippers were doing last game, just trying to give him some time off, because he's the last guy who's going to say, I need this time off.
All right, I'm going with tonight as my player to watch, Kobe Sanders. I want to see how he responds coming off his young career high with 20 points against Golden State on Monday night back at Intuit Dome. Who do you got for the Clippers against the Knicks in this one, Carlo?
Adam, if the Clippers want to win this game, Ivica Zubac has to take more than the 3 shots he took last game. Did shoot 8 free throws, but only 3 field goal attempts. I would expect Big Zoo to have a 20-burger here today. They're going to need it from the big man. This is a good Knicks team, but on the interior, they've got guys like Mitchell Robinson and Carl Towns. It's a lot of size for this Knicks group. Can Ivica Zubac be able to handle that size and then finish inside the lane?
Clippers and Knicks from Madison Square Garden, just about 6 minutes away. Tip-off is coming up with Carlo Jimenez on the call. But up next, we'll get your keys to victory right here on Clippers Countdown on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in New York taking on the Knicks. Tip-off just moments away with Carlo Jimenez. Let's get to your keys to victory. So the Knicks, the third worst net rating over their last 4 games where they are 0-4. And as Carlo mentioned during that time, they're 28th, also a bottom 5 team on the defensive end. And that is unlike the New York Knicks, but the Clippers got to keep them there, continue to attack them, because it looks like an effort thing right now for me, and maybe just a little bit of a lull from this Knicks team as they try to kickstart things once again, and not having Josh Hart makes things even more difficult. Clippers got to keep them in that spot, and also Clippers coming off a game Monday night where they had 20 turnovers against the Golden State Warriors. That cannot happen. You don't win many games where you have 20 turnovers, 13 more than your opposition, as Golden State only had 7 in that game. But with James Harden back, that should alleviate some of the bad turnovers the Clippers had without their primary ball handler out there in the bearded wonder. Expect them to keep it around 13 or less. That would be the number I would go for against the Knicks in this ball game with the defense that is struggling. Clippers from Madison Square Garden, taking on the New York Knicks. Carlo Jimenez is on the call. Coming up next, I'm Adam Osland, and this is your Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.